And a very good Sunday morning to you. This is Local Issues, Real People, a public affairs broadcast of Piedmont Communications. I'm your host, J.D. Slade. Local Issues, Real People is brought to you every week by Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. REC, reliable, affordable, and focused on community. My guest this morning, I've been looking forward to this for some time. He is Andrew DeNicola from the Culpeper County Library. First off, good morning, Andrew.
Good Sunday to you too, JD. How you doing?
I'm fine. It's like, again, we started talking last year. And when you were here, you were talking about highlights of the library being opened and all the gaps in the library services. Well, can you give me a recap on what those gaps were?
All right. So one of the big things about a public library is that we are all about free and open public access to all members of our community. And that community extends from, of course, Culpeper to any of the surrounding counties that enjoy using our library. And one of the big things that we were having a problem with is meeting people where they are. And that could be meeting people physically, like going out to those actual locations. But that could also mean hypothetically, just talking with them on their level, finding out what their needs are, finding out what they want, and just even researching and looking at all these people. And of course, we want to have an inclusive, warm, friendly environment. And that, goes beyond, again, the four walls. I mean, we want community learning. We want to work with our community partners. We want to be able to even just continue, make sure that everybody is able to have that continued learning experience, regardless of what their age is.
Well, again, this is not your father's library, because it's like, of course, this is a whole different world as far as the library is concerned, because we didn't have videos and all that kind of stuff. And these are all now available to your clients.
Absolutely. Between streaming video, available through a variety of different services, whether it be Canopy or Hoopla. These are all different ways that the public can access our videos. But this also now is extending into our YouTube channel, where people can download or view videos that we've recorded, or even, a particular recording that we may have done this August of last year, talking about these very things that we're going to be talking about today, I think. And these are ways that we can even now stream video live, because you may not be able to physically get to your library every day. And now we have the ability of being able to record events and programming and be able to access it from your mobile phone.
I tell you, again, even though I've grown up with all this, and it's like, I know it still amazes me how the technology is stretching out to just reach in all areas.
Yeah, technology is certainly a growing force within the library. One of the things that we actually just added recently is a new library app where you can check out books, do research online, access everything that you may want to know about the Culpeper County Library right from an app that you can download to your device.
Wow. Now, when you were here last year, you started tipping on something, and it's like, and it piqued my curiosity. And I told you at that point, when you know more about it, I want you to come back on here. Well, I think you know more about it. And I think it's called Comic-Con.
I wouldn't go necessarily that far. It's actually CulpeperCon.
Ah, there we go. Thank you very much. I stand corrected. CulpeperCon.
So CulpeperCon is a way for us to be able to start the library on a brand new pathway. We talked about, I just mentioned, and we talked about the library going beyond the four walls, going beyond our father's library. That seems to be a phrase that you and I have used a couple of times now. And we wanted something that would excite Culpeper, the surrounding counties, especially anybody that can be supported with our Culpeper County Library card. And of course, as I mentioned before, that open equity of access. We want something that's going to be free. We want something that everybody can be a part of, and we want it, of course, to be open to all ages. And so, therefore, we have created CulpeperCon.
All right, now, all right, break it down for me because I in error because I've been to San Diego and I know what Comic-Con is, but it is the same basic principle except we put a local spin on it. It's CulpeperCon.
Exactly. So, for those listeners who may not be familiar, of course, there's a big giant convention that happens every single year out in San Diego. In fact, there was one even this past weekend up in Fairfax. There's going to be one going on, sadly, the same weekend that we're hosting CulpeperCon. And all of these conventions are comic book conventions. They're designed to be inclusive for those folks that enjoy graphic novels, comic books, pop culture, science fiction, animation, manga, all the different nerdy things that everybody loves.
Be careful there. Be careful there. I have to tell you. See, again, I'm going to reveal something that people do not know. I once had a very, very large comic book collection because I, of course, grew up in the golden age of comics and of DC and, of course, Marvel and even some historic comic books, again. But it's like the thing of it is that when you get people who know comic books, man, the conversation can just go on and on. So tell me, when is CulpeperCon?
So CulpeperCon is going to be happening March 24th and 25th. Go online and register for the variety of different events that we're going to be having.
That's what I'm going to ask you next. What about these things that are going to be happening at CulpeperCon?
CulpeperCon. So the big thing that we have to remember is the big buzzword in a library is literacy. So, graphic novels, which are comic book styles.
They're big comic books.
Yeah, they're big comic books. They are a comic book style that has been reinvented to include classic literature. I mean, think of To Kill a Mockingbird. Think of even, Dante's Inferno and, Dante, going through the 7 levels of paradise and hell, and how that viewership is looking at the words on a page, and how does that react to the written word and what you can then see in your head.
Again, this, it's like, and I know where you're going with this, and so I'm going to see if I can't break it down for us dumb people. Again, the thing of a library is that you're right. It is a word, and it is the word that stimulates your brain to create the picture of what is on that page. And if the writing is done well enough, it doesn't take long to imagine where you are, and you can be anywhere in the world.
That's what I think every author that has ever existed has ever hoped for, especially when you're talking, fiction novels and great literature. But this, goes into every aspect, and it goes into the way that people are reading these days, and they're interacting with all of the different forms of media that we have. You talked before about, video in a library. And so how do we bridge those different gaps between the written word that you see on a page, the comic book that we then have the author's interpretation of the picture that they're seeing in their heads, and then we're seeing all of this kind of put together with the dialogue, the imagery, the movement, and being able to really dive your whole self into this this environment of what we hope for. I mean, who doesn't these days, watch, Spider-Man or Superman, or, Marvel and DC Comics.
Right up my alley, Andrew. Again, the thing of it is that I'm glad that the CulpeperCon is coming. Now, what kind of events are we going to be doing during CulpeperCon?
All right. So number one is on Friday the 24th, there is a cosplay contest. And those of your listeners are uninitiated. Cosplay just means costume play.
Yep.
And so people can dress up in their favorite Halloween costumes, so to speak. As their Spider-Mans, their Batmans.
They're your witches, they're your goblins. Everything is in costume.
Yep, everything is in costume. And the point of a cosplay contest is best costume wins. And so we're going to be doing that on Friday night from 6 o'clock until about 7:15, 7:30. Right after that is going to be the movie Galaxy Quest.
Wow.
With presentation in the library. And that particular movie we chose, one, because it's open to all ages, which we, again, want to be open and free to the whole public, kids and grown-ups alike. But we also chose that because it also highlights a really important aspect of inclusion. So with CulpeperCon or any conventions, the inclusion that we're talking about is how the fans, how the people that are reading and interacting and watching and listening and doing all these things with their favorite comic books or favorite movies or cartoons, we want them to feel like they are a part of it, because they're the ones that will go to these movies. And if they're going to the movies, then of course I'm sure people from Marvel and DC and Disney are probably pretty happy.
They are. And that's the thing. See, again, as a kid, like I say, comic books when I was a kid were 10 cents. And then they went up to 12 cents. And then they went up to 15 cents. And then they went up to a quarter. And that's when I stopped buying comic books. Because then the next time I looked at it, they were $1. But the thing of it is that the stories of the natives of Krypton and all the origin stories of the Marvel Universe, I knew them all because I read them all. And that was my first introduction to real reading regularly. So this is how it starts. And if we start and get them young, boy, we'll keep them all their life.
Well, it's actually funny you say that. A couple of days ago, I was at the Rotary. So the Rotary of Culpeper. And one of the things that I actually had them do was create the character of the nemesis to our created characters that we had designed for us by K Art and Designs, Tony Rosendowski. And we created a character called Captain Culpeper. And Captain Culpeper is both a hero and a heroine. But what I had the Rotary do is we had them design the anti-hero, the nemesis to our captains of Culpeper. And one of the nice things that we actually had them do is use what they think about Culpeper, what they think about the nemesis to a character. But one of the people that was there, his name is Bob, and one of the things he said is that when he started reading, and the reason he started reading was because he was reading comic books.
Yes.
And, then he went into later on, he went into the Navy, and now he's an author.
It's funny because the creativity of comic books and people who write comic books don't realize that the stimulation of creative people from seeing their work, because again, I am a creative person, and it's because of my love of comic books. And it also keeps me, I guess, young. I mean, it really does, because it's like I'm still looking at things through the eyes of a child, and that is, reading can do that for you. And that's going to be really cool. What else is going on at CulpeperCon?
Oh my gosh. So after the movie, of course, we'll hopefully all go home and get some sleep. At least some people will. I won't, I'm sure. But on Saturday morning, we have a cosplay 5K. So anybody that signs up, and it is a $20 fee, but it's about half the cost of a normal 5K. You do get a free T-shirt, and you can walk or run. It's just a fun run. We're not timing it, but you can do this in costume.
I want to see Batman and Superman just doing this run or walk through Culpeper.
and that's going to be at Rockwater Park. So, but I would hate to see then the Flash, trying to run behind those two, because I just don't know who would win at that point.
It would be an interesting. It would be an interesting event. It's like again, but in order to see that, you've got to be there. That's Saturday morning, the 25th. All right.
Yeah. So right after that, and there are prizes, which our sponsors are Gold's Gym and State Climb of Culpeper, as well as, of course, the Friends of the Library. But right after that event is the main event. And that's at Culpeper County Library.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right. So we have a keynote speaker, and I got to hear her speak at a virtual library convention that was specifically for comic books and graphic novels. And she was the moderator, and she was moderating a panel of two African Americans and one animator. Who were talking about African American representation in graphic novels, pop culture, and a comic book style called Afrofuturism.
Wow.
So our keynote speaker is Dr. Grace Gibson of Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, who, by the way, actually has one of the largest comic book and graphic novel collections in the world.
Wow.
It's a gorgeous collection. But Dr. Grace Gibson, she is a professor of African American Studies at VCU, and she's going to come and talk with us about how African Americans are represented in pop culture, comic books, and graphic novels.
She'll have a great deal to say because, of course, Black Adam was just released this year with The Rock starring as the King character, and it was a comic book adaptation. So, why did you want to do this, Andrew?
So, there's a lot of different reasons. I mean, again, the biggest reason is literacy. We want to be able to increase readership of specific categories of books. In our case, we want to see graphic novels, comic books, science fiction, fantasy, anything really to do with some of this pop culture. We want to encourage this lifelong learning. We want to encourage this social growth that I think only a library can really stimulate and bring people into this welcoming environment of inclusivity and growth to that, again, a library is able to really facilitate in that manner because a library is no longer just the destination of books. Libraries are also the destinations for entertainment and your escape. They're there to be your resource for information. They can be a resource for crafts and public speaking. They're all those little extras that we're now starting to really expect from a public library.
Again, like I mentioned, this is such a different state than when I was even a kid as the library because we all went to the library. We knew we were going to get books. But, my reading of comic books led to my vociferous just wanting to read. It made me want to read. And so, again, to the kids out there who they're not going to know that experience until they try it. But it's like, you get a good comic book, man, you get lost in it. What else is going to be going on?
Oh, my gosh. We keep getting off track. Oh, no. So with CulpeperCon, we also have activities for kids, crafting, STEM and STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So we're going to have some of the activities for just kids and teens alone. We have other panels, including women empowerment, women in gaming. We have demonstrations for LARPing, live action role playing, which is like Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of just rolling a couple of dice, you're actually acting out all of these different scenes.
I have seen a lot of good cosplay, and like I say, when they are really into it, you get lost in it. You can just get caught up all in it.
Well, and one of the partners for the committee that we created for CulpeperCon to help design some of the different key aspects. One of the people that's on it is David Foster from Mountain Run Winery, and they actually host at Mountain Run Winery one of the largest LARPing groups every year at Mountain Run. And how cool is that we can say that in Culpeper, we have not only some of these outdoor experiences for LARPers, but now they're going to be able to get a little bit more exposure to say, hey, this is what Culpeper can do. And we designed CulpeperCon to be free. There is no charge to attend CulpeperCon.
The price is right.
The price is perfect.
This is Local Issues, Real People. I'm J.D. Slade. My guest this morning is Andrew DeNicola from the Culpeper County Library, and we are talking about CulpeperCon. It's a convention that's coming up what day?
March 24th and 25th of this year.
If you've been interested in comic books or cosplay, if something comes to mind, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, first off, we do have our Facebook page, which is going to highlight some of the different cool things that we've got going on. Some of the different neat things that are going on every day with CulpeperCon. The other part of that is that in order to register for CulpeperCon, click the link on that Facebook page because that will bring them right to our Eventbrite ticketing service. So people can register for the different little sessions that we have going on, whether it be Magic the Gathering, which is a card game, or whether it be for a keynote speaker or for the 5K. But of course, they can always contact me at Culpeper County Library, which is 540-825-8691. Or if they want to just reach me directly, I'm more than happy to answer questions. ADENICOLA@cclva.org, and I'll be more than happy to answer anything about anything within the library.
And if you didn't get all that, you can always call me and I will put you in touch with Andrew because, again, we do talk very often. Again, I was really excited because, again, when you said comic, and I thought, okay, CulpeperCon. All right, so you got CulpeperCon coming up. How many people are you looking to come in here?
We are expecting anywhere between 500 to 600 people over the course of a day and a half.
That's a lot of people coming through there. It's like, and I certainly hope that you get all those and then some. What is the purpose really of, is this something that the library is going to be trying to expand into in the future?
Definitely. I mean, I hope this is a reoccurring event, first of all. I hope that this is not just a one and done. The Friends of the Library have done a great job over many, many, many years of supporting the library in all the different extras that we can't normally afford. And so they are our signature sponsor for the event. And so we hope to be able to expand this into tiny little things going on in the future. I talked about how I was able to go to the Rotary a couple of days ago and get their involvement with creating the Nemesis to CulpeperCon, which if you go onto our Facebook page, you can actually read all about it. But we want to be able to expand upon Culpeper being our own. Let's make our own comic. Let's make the inclusivity of CulpeperCon, the inclusivity of Culpeper, and the great people that do live in it, and the surrounding communities, of course, that we support. But we want to be able to make sure that they have their vetted interest in building upon all these different things. So you're going to see a couple of different events going on between now and certainly the end of the year. That are already in the works.
And, of course, you will let me know when they come to fruition.
I think I can maybe dabble in a little bit of information to you, Mr. J.D. Slade.
All right, so, again, if here I go. I'm going to ask you your magic wand. Here we've got CulpeperCon coming. What is your magic wish that is possible to come true?
Okay. Mr. Genie, can I have 3 wishes?
No, I'll give you one.
Oh,
sorry.
My goodness. All right, Genie. Genie JD. Can I call you that?
Sure.
All right. So my big wish for all of this. My best wish is I wish to have Culpeper County Library on the map.
Now that's a broad brush, but it's not an impossibility. And as long as the Culpeper Library continues to treat, of course, local citizens like they have and brings things like CulpeperCon to the library, I got a feeling that you'll be on the map before you know it.
I hope so. With all of the media that's been going out, and I'll be on television channel coming up here in about a week or two.
Cool.
So you actually see me on the morning news. But Culpeper is such a unique place. It is, we have our history of being an agricultural industry. We have a great history of having people come to our community and involve themselves on an everyday basis. So it's not just a one and done community.
That's the thing that I admire, because, of course, I appreciate your passion for what you do, because, again, I'm as passionate for what I do. But, the thing of it is that we have a very interesting circle that we live in. Of course, all the historical values, but the people are what really make this thing tick.
The people are fantastic. And all the different nonprofit organizations that have actually been helping with CulpeperCon, whether it be from the Chamber of Commerce, whether it be from Winmore Foundation of the Arts, whether it be, of course, the Friends of the Library, they're all vetted. They're all interested in making Culpeper a better place in their little niche environments, mind you.
Exactly.
And I'm so proud every single day that I come into work to be a part of that whole process that encourages the literacy portion, the social growth that a library can provide, and that mental stimulation, that positive mental health awareness that goes under the radar of how we can make Culpeper, the community, and of course Culpeper, the library, such a vital way to be a continued environment for us all.
My guest this morning, Andrew DeNicola from the Culpeper County Library. Andrew, thank you so very much, and I'm going to give you the chance one more time to tell people about CulpeperCon.
All right, folks, CulpeperCon is going to be happening on Friday, March 24th from 6 to 7:30 with a movie screening right after that. Then also on Saturday in the morning, we have our cosplay 5K. That's Saturday, the 25th of March. Then, of course, we have the main event at the library. And we also, which we did not mention, is a partnership with the Library of Congress, Packard campus here in Culpeper. Just to say that we're part of Culpeper, we've got the Library of Congress, folks.
Hey, listen, I just had a story. They're doing some great stuff in the month of March as well. So there it is. We got it all.
Well, I know one for a fact that on March 25th, they're going to be playing Superman.
Yes, they are.
They're going to be playing Superman. And you'll have to see my mug there.
Hey,
representing Culpeper County Library, because they were so gracious enough to be able to, on Saturday at 7:30, to be able to show Superman at the Library of Congress Packard campus. JD, I am so happy to be been a part of this here today. I am so happy to be representing Culpeper County Library, and especially happy to be able to share with your listeners CulpeperCon, Saturday, March 24th, and on Friday, March 24th, Saturday, March 25th. Please go to Culpeper County Library's website at cclva.org. Click on our link for CulpeperCon. Look at all the different great events. And hopefully, you will come to the Culpeper County Library more often, get yourself a library card, and you'll have to listen to my loud mouth every single day when you come in.
Andrew, I would listen to it. I mean, I could sit and listen to you for hours because, again, you are just so devoted to what you do. CulpeperCon is coming. And again, Andrew, thank you so very, very much for being on the show.
JD, thank you so much for having me. And to your listeners, I look forward to seeing you at
CulpeperCon. There we go. And that is Local Issues Real People for this week. Brought to you by Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. REC, reliable, affordable, and focused on community. I'm JD Slade.